To really go briefly into why I love cooking on a wood fire is I love barbecuing. I remember the Portuguese down in the Delta cooking with 55-gallon drums, holes poked through them, hanging their ducks, building a fire outside the drum itself with an opening, and they use convection like a chimney to introduce the heat with the wood-fired smoke into that 55-gallon drum. And it was made a lot of sense and easy way to cook. Also very forgiving because you're cooking with hot air. The flame's 3 feet from the food. And so you would find yourself where it was very forgiving compared to standard type barbecuing. So I said, man, that is really cool. I like that. So I built my original, and I didn't even have a name as a Groven at that time. And a Groven stands for grill and an oven because it will do both. And it's now called a wood-fired Groven because that's what it does. So the original one was strictly hang meat, whether it was chickens or ribs, or heck, you could hang prime rib in it. You could hang tri-tip in it. But it was strictly a hanging type of device with an offset fire that chimneyed up through and brought the heat with it with the smoke. I decided, man, I really love cooking over wood fire, so I decided, what the heck, I'm going to see if I can develop what now is called the Groven into a wood-fired cooking device. When I looked out there in the barbecue world as far as wood-fired cooking devices, the only thing I could come up with was what they call the Santa Maria grill. It's got a big wheel, you bring the grate up and down, but it's directly over the fire all the time. And then there's some Argentinian grills that use a sloping grate where they can move the food away from the fire height-wise, but it was also direct. So this is offset. It creates a firebox and a campfire, quite frankly, that you can sit around while you're cooking. So it's got a multi-dimensional aspect to it. So you know, I've read a lot of books, a lot of cookbooks about barbecuing, about smoking, and there's a general consensus from people that really know what they're doing that live fire smoke is the highest quality smoke you can have. If you starve a fire to control it in temperature by oxygen, it doesn't burn the smoke completely, and it can actually add so much smoke flavor it's overwhelming when you take a bite. But live fire smoke, a fire that's burning at its normal rate, can never over smoke meat. And so that's what I've focused on and designed for, the live fire aspect, and then using that live fire to obtain whatever temperature you want to cook at. And that fire is going to burn at a rate, so it's going to be steady at that heat, and it's just a very forgiving way of cooking with wood fire. So anyway, as I was developing the Groven and I kept learning different types of cooking it could do and how easy different methods were, and I was totally amazed. I was sort of like, wow, that was easy, that unbelievable. And so then as I started to sear steak directly in the firebox, I found out how easy it was to have total flame control on how much flame actual fire hit the meat. And we all know that we all want to have a little fire hit the meat for that flavor profile. And so by changing the directional flow of the air, I could actually make my fire go from vertical to totally horizontal instantly. And so now I had total control of how much fire I wanted on my meat. You know, as I developed this and I looked at always thinking of the end user, I decided to use 316 marine grade rather than 304 just because of how robust it is to weathering. I wanted to develop the greatest, best wood-fired barbecue out in the market that could do everything and anything, quite frankly. My point is that it cooks food so well once you understand it. And if you're one of those people, a person with the gene that wants to cook with a wood fire, that wants to sit around that, build that fire, wants to interact with it, wants the end results from it, you can't get anything that's more satisfying, in my own experience that I've had all these years of barbecuing, than the Groven. One of the, what I'd call an added feature, and a big one, that the Groven offers that gives you as a user is a aspect of a campfire that you sit around while you're cooking your meal. And I just, you know, I got to thinking about it one time, and I said, does a charcoal grill have that? Does a gas fire grill have that? A pellet grill came into the thought. Would you sit around a pellet grill? And I couldn't think of any type of barbecue out there that gave you the campfire aspect added while you're cooking your meal. And the communal aspect of that, as people sit around a nice wood fire, campfire. By the way, most of the smoke's going into the cooker, so you're not getting smoke in your eye either, but you do feel the heat. People will come up and just go, oh man, does that feel good? That is such a nice fire you got going, and you're cooking your food. They can't believe it. They're really unbelievable. So one of the things I thought about one time in the development of this, and especially when I found out how well, once you have a pizza stone heated to the proper temp, how well the Groven cooks pizza. And in my opinion, it truly is a wood-fired pizza oven, because the smoke is going by the pizza that I've got in there. And if you look at the typical dome-shaped pizza oven, they build a fire in the back end of it. They put the pizza in down at the bottom. They have to turn that pizza twice because it's only got that heat source directly on this one side. The smoke from that wood fire is rising with that heat, follows a dome shape and goes out the vent. And so I don't even know how much smoke actually goes by the pizza in a domed shaped wood-fired pizza oven. But mine, you set in on the pizza stone. You don't have to turn it. And that smoke from that wood fire is going right by that pizza. So it's not a smoked pizza at all, because that's live wood fire smoke. And that smoke never over smokes anything. But the nice thing is you can be cooking a pizza at the same time you're cooking other items at the same time. In my development of the Groven, if I look at my original Grovens that I built, none of them were insulated. But as I started really thinking about developing a real product, I decided, well, what would have real value? And I couldn't help but think that an insulated twin wall where the inside steel wasn't affected by the outside air temperature made a lot of sense. In fact, I even thought about the guy in Montana that might want to do a brisket in the middle of winter. I knew he couldn't do it if it wasn't insulated. He'd have a lot better chance if it was insulated. So I decided to make that insulated. The firebox needed to be insulated because I've taken readings on a single layer of steel in the firebox that was 1100 degrees. I'm somewhere around 150 now. As I progressed down my path of the development, I had a commercial kitchen designer ask if I could put everything on one side so you could access everything from one side of the unit, so that it would work into a line in a kitchen that would make it work in a restaurant, because the wood-fired aspect of it was so desirable. I'm well along my way. It works really well. It's incredibly pleasurable to cook on. I have my own quality requirements. I've always felt that I was the end user's representative. What makes sense, what makes value to them. I wanted them, quite frankly, I've had this saying, their success on the Gruffin is my success. I want them thinking this is the greatest cooking device they ever ran into, and it's wood-fired. And you can't get any better than that. So I've climbed the highest mountain. Now, maybe it's not for everybody, but you gotta have the gene, you gotta have that drive where you go, oh my God, you're cooking with a wood fire? Are you kidding me? Oh, that is so cool. I get to sit around it. Oh my God, I mean, it's just like you can't get any better.